Hey Barb, how are you doing?
Really good. How are you?
I'm just fine, thank you.
That's
Uh,
great. How's your morning been so far?
pretty good today. It's a little cooler here today because it's raining.
Hmm.
But I'm very grateful for the humidity and the I'm really excited about the grass turning green.
I know, me too. Yesterday we were driving around, just coming back from doing an errand, and we drove past this one tree that was just filled with little buds. It was so nice to see.
Yes, nice. Yeah, it's nice that spring is here, hey?
Hmm. For sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a long winter, so we're really happy to have spring.
Yes, yes, exactly. So we're about to film episode 40 of Podcast On. So this is our monthly podcast where we talk to our viewers about, life in a local yarn shop and what's happening at River City Yarns. Do you want to introduce us, Barb?
Sure. My name is Barb, and I'm one of the owners of River City Yarns in Edmonton, Alberta. And you are?
And I'm Cynthia. I'm Barb's business partner and sister. And we like to come out every month and just give you an update on what's happening in the store, what new products are here, what else, what we're doing, how we're coping, and just check in with you on how you're doing, particularly now that we're still kind of entrenched in this pandemic time. It's a history making time. Hey, Barb.
That's right. Yeah, it is. And it's been a challenge too, because we've had to do our podcast with a new technology. We're using Zoom, and that's been a challenge because normally we have someone filming us and they've got great sound and great light. And now we're having to try and struggle through this on our own. So forgive us if we, make some little errors or the sound's not perfect or right, but
Yeah.
we're doing our best.
That's right, and we're staying separate. So, the way that we're managing the store these days is that Barb and her husband are coming in and doing the early morning shift and dealing with all the shipping and receiving that we do every day. And my husband and I are going in the afternoons, and we're dealing with all the curbside pickups and making sure that people are getting their yarn on a daily basis if they're local. And then when we're not in the store, we're answering emails, we're answering social media texts, we're answering phone calls. I guess we're in the store, we're answering phone calls, but it's pretty busy, isn't it?
It's steady considering that it's just Cynthia and I, right? Normally we have a whole bevy of folks that are helping out in the store. So they're all at home, staying safe, and thankfully, and no one's sick. So that's really good. And so it's all about thinking about them and keeping them safe.
That's right. Yes. And we do have one staff member who comes in 3 days a week and gives us a hand. But we're finding that really, in order to safely social distance, we want to make sure that there are as few people in the shop at any one time as possible. So some of the things that we haven't been able to do are, well, obviously allow people in the shop, but we've been getting lots of calls about ball winding. Can we wind up yarn into balls for folks? And unfortunately, we just haven't had the time to be able to do that. The all the other tasks that are involved in running a yarn store make it so that there really isn't very much time in between orders to and orders and phone calls to get at the ball winder.
Mhm.
So we've been encouraging people to take up a new skill involved with managing yarn, and that is winding a ball by hand, or considering the opportunity to purchase a Swift and a ball winder. So that's been kind of the thing that we've been dealing with a little bit this week is giving people instructions on how to wind a ball by hand. And but it's
I
part of
think
the
you
process.
have a video on that, don't you?
We do. We have a video on our YouTube channel on how to wind a center pull ball, and I've got one here that. So I finished up my MCAL project last night, and so I took my leftover ball and I wound it up into a new ball because I think the whole process of ball winding is really something that everybody should try because I find it um, I find it relaxing, but I also, right now it's a time when you don't have a lot of control over things. You have to, you know, you can't go to the dentist. You can't go to the hairstylist right now. So, that dark patch, my roots are showing through, and I have no control over that. But I can control my yarn, and I find it therapeutic to wind this ball. And afterwards I can squish it too. So it's a stress reducer.
Yeah, and it looks nice too. I mean, a hand wound ball, it seems to me to stay together a lot better too than a machine wound one.
Yeah, and you don't have to pull from the inside of the ball either. There is also some good reasons to pull from the outside of the ball, and so we'll maybe get into that a little bit later. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Okay, so today what we're going to focus on is kind of what we normally talk about, a few works in progress that we've been working on,
yeah,
and some finished objects. You have one, right?
yeah. So well, let's start with works in progress. Because that was top of the schedule. Do you have a work in progress, Barb?
Oh, I think I got a couple of them here, but
Okay. So I wanted to last time we met. Oops, sorry. We were doing a Yarn It Forward initiative with Ancient Arts. We were raising some funds for Food Banks Canada, and one of the yarns that we were making a contribution with was Ancient Arts Lasco Fine. And so I have this beautiful Lasco Fine, and I cast on a sweater called Aine. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's Aine by Isabel Kramer. But I'm having
wow,
such
that looks
so much fun.
beautiful.
Isn't it nice? So the purple is called amethyst, and the green is called poison. And I just really was intrigued with these two colors together.
How do you like using the yarn? That's Lasco Fine.
I love it. I love it. It's really nice. It's a fingering weight yarn, and it's really squishy and soft. It does have some. Um, I wouldn't. It's not a thick and thin yarn. It's spun pretty. It's spun pretty consistently, but every now and then you get this little blip of fiber, and it creates a thicker stitch. And I know that's the Manx Loughton wool that's in there that's creating that little nub of fiber, but it's really soft. It's not merino, but I can hold this up to my neck and it feels great. So I'm really liking it, but I just love the way that it, 100% wool, it just squishes up. Yeah.
Yeah, does it feel kind of like toothy? Like the strands want to stick together a little bit? I love
Definitely.
that feel too.
Yeah. And that's great for color work. If you're going to do color work, you're going to spend that time doing the floats on the back. You really want a yarn that's a bit toothy. So,
Yeah.
and look at that stretch, hey?
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
it's again, if you're going to do stranded color work, you want something that's going to have a bit of give, because if you're a little tight, you're going to want that stretch, or things are going to look puckered.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, that's just beautiful, Cynthia.
I'm
Yeah.
having fun with it now. I'm done the color work part, and it's straight stockinette for the rest of it. So it's the rest of the project will be a good project to have while I binge watch Netflix.
I was going to say, what are you going to do to keep yourself motivated to finish that? Because that's a lot of stockinette.
Yeah, so we started watching Vikings last night on Netflix, and so there's another. I think I've got another 6 hours of that to watch. And so that's really good for the stockinette stitch.
There you go.
How about you? What have you got on your needles, Barb?
Oh, well, actually, I when I think about it now, I've been almost solely working on the MCAL. I'm doing the wrap, and so I've got a nice portion of that finished, but I don't have it here with me.
Okay.
I brought everything else, but I left in the other room. So if we take a break, I'll go get it and then
Oh,
come back.
all right.
They have a lot of FOs here.
Yeah, so let's move on to finished objects and just show me what you got there.
Okay. Well, this first one is a hat that was knit by Pat. She did two of them for us. It's called the Alaska hat. And this hat is, I have the info on it here. It's a pattern by Camille De Soto. It's on Ravelry, and it's called Alaska Hat for anyone who's interested. We can put show notes below, right, Cynthia? But here's a picture of it. So it's very cool because it has this tree pattern, and the key is to use a yarn that self-patterns. So here's one. Doesn't that look cool? Just got it on her little hat mannequin. And on this one, Pat did a turn-up row. So the brim actually turns up and stays in place. And then I'll show you the other one. Just switch this out. So we did a light one and a dark one. This is the light one. So the yarn that creates all the colorway, it's just one color that goes all the way up to the top. It's called Millicolory Baby. It's on our website, and it changes colors as you're using it. And then the other one that we used was Yawwall sock yarn. It's a 50-gram ball. These hats don't take much yarn. They only take half of a 50-gram ball, a little bit more than half. And
those are gorgeous, Barb.
you like them? They're quite stunning, aren't they? Really?
Yeah. So we'll put in the show notes a link to the Millicolory and to the Yawwall.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll also add some pictures to those product descriptions and let you know what colors we used.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really, all the colors are really beautiful. I think the key to it is that you need to pick something with real contrast for your tree. But this one doesn't have any white in the background.
Right. So I mean that hat that you were just holding might not look. Well, it's hard to know. What do you think it would look just as stunning if the trees were done in black?
I don't think so, because right here, there's a dark. It's kind of like a dark brown, but if you used black, I think they'd kind of blend in together. So I think where your tree is, if you had something darker up here, it would be fine.
Right.
Where your tree is, you want to try and have as much contrast as you can.
I suppose, there's probably lots of leftovers too. So I suppose if you did run into a section where you felt like it was blending in, you could pull on the self-striping yarn until you got past that color section and just snip that color out, hey?
Exactly.
That's just stunning, Barb.
It's kind of fun, hey?
Yeah.
And now, if I was going to do it again, and I have, I haven't started yet, but I'm going to cast on with the Shelridge Farms Merino here in the brim. This is lovely. This is sock yarn, and it's very nice, but it's just a little bit picky. You know what I mean? I think if you picked a merino, just a little higher quality wool, like a Peary, or we have lots of the Shelridge in 50-gram skeins in navy. I'm going to try it in navy and see how that one works out. I think it'll just be a little bit softer.
Right. That'd be really nice.
Mm-hmm. So Peary or Richard DeVries would be a lovely one too in Pepino.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be really nice. All right, so looks like we'll be putting up some suggestions then on the
Yeah.
show notes down below
Yep.
for you with some combinations that you might like to consider for the Alaska
Mhm.
hat. Hey,
Yeah.
okay. What else have you got there?
What else have I got? Ooh, well, do you remember those flash mob kits we had from Flock Fiber? They were gradient colorways. There were
Yes, this
6
is
of them.
a study in Scarlet
Yes,
from Sherlock Holmes.
that's
Yes.
right. There were 6 of them, and I had some left over, and so I asked Pat if she would knit a pair of shinny mitts. So here are the shinny mitts. And I also made pom-poms. I'm gonna sew these on. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but see these little pom-poms? So there's gonna be 3 along each side. But here's the shinny mitts, and these mittens are so lovely. They're knit with Flash Mob's sock yarn and Kid Silk Haze held together. So we started off with one mitt with the very lightest end up here and knit to about halfway mark. And then, okay, how did we do? Oh, yeah. And then on this one, we started with the other way. So they go together like that. But it was fun because we switched them around and we held Kid Silk Haze with it. And Cynthia, these feel so nice. There's a lot of halo too. Well, you can kind of see that in the camera. And then for the inside, we used Rowan. This is Cash Soft Baby Merino from Rowan. It's just a lovely merino wool with a little bit of cashmere in it. And so this is how these mittens are made. The inside is just another mitten. So you're knitting 2, and it's got a nice turning row there. So you just flip one inside the other, and now you've got a double lined mitten for extra warmth.
Oh, Barb, that looks amazing. Yeah. And
Fun, hey?
that Rowan Cash Soft baby yarn, I was putting it away the other day, and it's to die for. It's so
Isn't it?
soft.
Yes. Did you see the little baby sweater that we have in it too?
I saw that Rowan came out with some new patterning for baby stuff
Mhm.
using the Cash Soft Baby Merino. So there's, if you want inspiration, if you have baby things to knit, there's Rowan has knitrowan.com has a lot of patterns. But back to those shinny mittens, those are gorgeous. And I
Mhm.
like how you did the same but different thing by, changing the way the colorways were going out.
Yeah, just have to have a little bit of fun with it, right? So
Yeah,
here they are with 3 little pom-poms. Just gonna add those on along the side.
kind of like buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be really cute. And I think a lot of people have been doing, making projects for Christmas. They've
Right.
been making things and putting them away and
Mhm.
saving them for Christmas. So it's never too early in the year to start planning ahead. And maybe, Barb, you should tell everybody why those mittens are called shinny mittens.
Right. Well, in my opinion, mittens are perfect to make all year round because you can never have enough of them. And if you had to, you could end giving them away, and there'd be people that would be lined up for a pair like this that are double lined. But they're called shinny mittens because they were designed for us by Fiona Ellis out of our hockey yarn. So, in the wintertime, everybody plays hockey here, and people get out and play shinny, just kind of um, passing around the puck on a skating rink.
Yeah,
So these are mittens, and they're lined extra warm and done out of fingering weight yarn. So
right.
you probably might even have gradient kits like this at home in your own stash. So this is a perfect way for using up the tons and tons of sock yarn that you might have. And
Mhm.
then we threw kid silkays in there because who can resist something with a little bit of mohair?
Yes. So that's right. So we do have, I believe, a few of the Studying in Scarlet gradient kits from Flock Fiber. They're on our website. The pattern is on our website. Rowan Kid Silk Haze is on our website, and the Rowan Baby Soft Cashmerino is on our website as well. So you
Right,
can
and the
all look at
pattern tells you, how much you need.
it.
So, we've got the meterage in the pattern. I believe it took 2 balls of the Rowan, Cast Soft Baby to do the inside. 1 wasn't quite enough. But the, it's like knitting 2 pairs of mittens, and, the outside, is the same meterage in both just because you hold them together.
Right. Well, that's really nice. Okay. So what else have you got over there?
Oh, I think that's about it. Well, we've got some socks and stuff that we worked on together.
Right. Well, let's start with did you bring your woodland mittens or woodland loafers?
I'm wearing them.
Are you? Oh, nice.
I love these. These are so nice.
Yes. And I am impressed with your flexibility.
Yeah, really.
You've been doing yoga during COVID time, haven't you?
I wish. You can see the front of them. Here, I'll do this.
That's what it is. I'll hold up
Coolest
mine
little
too.
slippers ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you did yours out of Epic.
Yeah, I used a double strand of Epic in my new favorite colorway, which is camel.
Yep.
I used 2 strands of Epic, and I
Right.
sewed,
But
sewed some foot pads on the bottom. These are faux leather soles from Brick Bubble. We have some in the store that are like a toe and a heel print, and they would probably be um, almost nicer in a way. I guess it doesn't really matter, but it would accommodate more foot sizes. These ones you have to buy a specific foot size. And I'll
right.
show you one other little trick with these. When I went to sew on these soles, you know how the slipper doesn't really want to conform to the sole. So I traced the sole onto a piece of cardboard,
Cool.
and then I stuck the cardboard inside my slipper like a little template. And then it was so easy to stitch around it. So if you do get some soles, I would recommend doing just that. If you are sewing on the ones that are just the toe and the heel, then I would trace your foot onto a piece of cardboard, cut it out and put it there so you know exactly where to sew your bottoms on. But
That's
I
a brilliant idea. That's
Yeah,
a good idea, and I love those Brick Bubbles, um, liners or soles because they're machine washable.
yes. But you know what I was thinking, Barb? What I was thinking might be really cool too is to knit up some Epic because it's a feltable yarn. So I was thinking about just knitting up a rectangle with some leftover yarn and felting it in my washing machine, and then um, cutting out some sole shapes with it, and
Yeah,
just sewing it onto the bottom of already existing slippers, or sliding it inside a slipper to give you a wool liner inside your already made slippers.
yeah, it would make it nice and cushy. And, did you find that your slippers were a little bit big on you, or
Yeah,
did they fit? Yeah?
yeah.
Too. I did mine out of cocoon, and they actually fit Mario better than they fit me.
Mm,
So his foot's about an inch and a half or 2 inches longer than mine and
right.
wider, and, they fit. So if I'm gonna do them again, I think I'm going to knit them a size smaller.
Or maybe use a smaller needle.
Yes, that too, that could
Depends
be.
on how much smaller you want to make them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we weren't on gauge. That might be why they, that size didn't. But yeah, I found mine were they're a little loose on my foot, so I thought I would put them away in my Christmas gift basket, so that I'd have something to give away at Christmas time as a hand knit present. And
Nice.
but I love the pattern. It's really cool. I would definitely do this again. This was one of the patterns that was voted like a top pattern in Mason Dixon's March Madness patterns, showdown. And I really like the little loops on it as well. That was really
That's right. Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yes, I loved it too, and I love the cocoon. This fabric is so soft. There's some mohair in it, um, and it just makes such a comfy slipper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
So I'm wearing mine. I was thinking, Cynthia, too, about this would be a great stash buster. If you have lots of sock yarn, and who doesn't, right? Tons of it. I was thinking about holding two strands of sock yarn and a strand of kid silk haze, or Lang lace, another mohair that we have, or even one of the variegated ones. We have some from Katya that are variegated, so it could change colors. You could make some really nice ones that I think would wash up really well if they were done in sock yarn too.
Yeah, yeah. So this one was like you used Rowan cocoon single stranded. So you might need 3 strands of sock yarn. You'd have to play around with the gauge, right? And
Yeah.
do a little gauge swatch before you started, um, to make sure that. Well, I guess you could just start and see what kind of fabric you're
Well,
getting.
yeah, and this is probably the kind of slipper too that if you make a few of them, you can give them away as gifts. They don't have to necessarily all fit you, right?
That's right. That's absolutely right. Yeah, yeah. I think the pattern came with a few sizes on it too, so that's good. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then what else? We've got a few pairs of kind of slippers and socks, right?
Yeah, well, we did a promotion. Well, we're still doing a promotion right now. So we have this new initiative that we're calling Yarn It Forward, and it's a way of contributing back to our community, especially when that community is in need. So last month we finished off the end of April. We did we did a Yarn It Forward initiative with Ancient Arts, and we raised $3,000 between Ancient Arts and River City Yarns to contribute to Food Banks Canada, as a way of helping out with the extreme need that was presented during this time of the pandemic. And so we contributed 20% of all of the sales of our Ancient Arts yarns to Food Banks Canada, and 80% of some of the patterns uh, that we have that support that yarn or that would be good for that yarn. And so we're really pleased with how that turned out and how much money we were able to contribute. So it's nice. And maybe if you don't mind, Barb, I'll just pop in here and read the letter from Food Banks Canada.
Yeah, sure.
So we got this letter back from them, and they said, "I can't thank you enough for your generosity. Right now, food banks are struggling to provide enough support to those in need in their communities. Your gift is so important in ensuring that all Canadians have access to food during and after the COVID pandemic. Your commitment to ensuring no one goes hungry is inspiring during this challenging time. Once again, thank you so much for your support." So I just thought that was a really nice letter, and I wanted to share it with everybody because it wasn't just us, right? It was everybody who purchased those skeins and those patterns, and so I wanted to say thank you to everyone for that.
Absolutely. And the knitting community is so generous. I mean, it always amazes me how generous everybody is when it comes to a cause. You know, um, I just want to say too that we're thinking about all of our friends in Fort McMurray too, who just came through a terrible flood 4 years ago. They had a fire go through, and some of those people have just rebuilt their homes and moved into them. and now they've had a flood.
Mhm.
So, COVID touched all of us. So does the flood in Fort McMurray.
Yes.
So thank you to all the knitters out there who are so generous and who, rally up to a cause. It's a wonderful community to be part of.
Yes. But right now, we're in midstream with another Yarn It Forward initiative, and that has to do with Nova Scotia. So we had our worst mass shooting in Canada ever in Nova Scotia just recently, and so we wanted to participate in another initiative to raise funds for the Red Cross in Nova Scotia, and we partnered with our friends at Handmaiden. And so, Barb, you ordered some very special yarn. You want to tell us about that?
Sure. Yeah. Jana and the other handmaidens made us a special batch of Eden in their colorway Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia was the very first color that they ever came out with. I think they've been in business now for 40 years. And so they redid a lot of their yarns in the colorway Nova Scotia, and they made us a total of 70 skeins in Nova Scotia colorway. So we're still in the process of um, managing some of the sales around those and waiting for the yarn to arrive so that we can send it out to everybody. But I think, do you remember how much we collected, Cynthia, for that?
Well, so between Handmaiden and ourselves, we're contributing $6 per skein.
Right.
So 6 times 70 is $420. Did I do
Right.
the math right?
Yes, and then we also kicked in one of our patterns. We have a new pattern that we just launched from Kate Atherley
Mhm.
called the Lux Slippers or Lux Socks.
Lux Slipper Socks, Luxe, and I've got a pair here, and these are made out of Eden, and they're fabulous. They're cozy. They're soft. Um, they're wonderful, and they're knit from the toe to the cuff. So if you were to run out, instead of having a funny colored toe, you could change your colors and make the cuff different. So this is one pair of the Lux Slipper socks, and this is the leftovers from from a skein of Eden. So there's a little bit less than half here. So that means at this size, you could probably make another pair, but change the color on the cuff, or maybe do a barb and use a couple of strands of fingering weight with some kid silk haze mixed in there for some fuzzy cuffs. So yes, we're donating $5 from the sale of each pattern, also to the Red Cross Nova Scotia Fund. We don't have, I think I counted, when I counted last time, I want to say, I think there were 15 patterns sold, but I haven't counted for a few days, and that's still ongoing. So we're running that one until May the 10th. So if you didn't get a chance to purchase a skein of Nova Scotia in Eden, you can still purchase the pattern and know that a really good significant chunk of that is going towards the Nova Scotia Red Cross Fund, and you can pick a different colorway of Eden to make your slipper socks in. So Lux slipper socks, they were designed by Kate Atherley exclusively for River City Yarns.
Mhm. And I think we're pretty much sold out on the Nova Scotia. We were taking names, and if we have anyone who changes their mind or doesn't want, to go ahead with their purchase, send us an email because we can still put you on our wait list for Nova Scotia. But the colors, Cynthia, that you had, it was that river,
Yeah.
right? So there's some other colors that we have in Eden that are just beautiful. I have a pair here too. This is done out of red fox. I wish I would have brought my sock blockers because this would have, but I think you can get the sense of what the sock looks like. They're just really cute. And this topper, this garter stitch ridges along the top are really sweet. This is where Cynthia said you could go with a solid color up here. Red fox is one of my favorites because it's got grays in it and oranges and burgundies. It's really, really pretty.
Yeah, I can insert. So that's the colorway that is on the main picture of the pattern.
Right.
So I'll insert some photographs here so you can have a close up of those socks on actual feet.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, yeah, but still, that one's still going on.
right. And then we're going to turn our minds to Fort McMurray and do a Yarn It Forward um, um, promo for Fort McMurray as well, because this is again, it's a time when we're all what is it's not suffering, but we're all challenged by the pandemic, and then you add another kind of community emergency on top of it, and you just want to reach out and help other
Yeah.
people. So we'll likely be donating towards the Red Cross in Fort McMurray as well to help out with those folks.
Yeah. We just have to put a little bit more thought around, what we're going to offer out this time.
Yeah,
But rest assured, it'll be something unique and creative
right? Yeah, yeah, exactly.
because that's
Okay.
just who we are.
So let me just see here. I did one more thing. Oh, right, right. Those Kobasi socks, which we were doing earlier with Crazy Sylvie from Germany.
Yes. These socks were designed to be knit on the flexi flips, right, Cynthia?
That's correct.
These were Addie's new needles. And Sylvie came up with this really pretty pattern. The toe or the foot of the sock starts with the pattern and then it goes up. It was just really pretty lace work all the way around. And so we had Pat knit these for us, and we ended up with one of each color, right, Cynthia?
That's right. Because again, we're same but different. We're sisters, but we have different personalities. So I'm going to wear this one on my left foot, Barb, which means you must always wear it on your right foot.
Oh, okay. That's a good way to
I'm
do it.
teasing.
Although one of mine is slightly bigger than the other.
Well, so are our feet, I'm sure. One foot
I
is
know, that's
slightly
what I'm
bigger than the
saying.
other.
The purple one is just slightly bigger than the turquoise one, so the purple one might have to go on my right foot.
I'm sort of thinking that my purple one is just slightly smaller than my turquoise one.
Okay, well, is one of your feet bigger than the other?
I'm sure it is.
That's really the question that you need to ask. Yeah. So this
So
is Kawasi is a really nice blend too. I just want to put a word in about that because this yarn has a lot of elastic in it. And so if you're looking for a yarn for socks that, will fit or will fit tighter, this is the yarn. It's cotton, bamboo, silk, and a little bit of elastic nylon. And comes in great colorways. It's great for people who can't wear wool. And it's a really nice yarn for anything that you want to be tight. People also use it to make those um, hand um, gloves that are really tight. Sometimes if you have arthritis or a little carpal tunnel, to wear a glove that really is snug or tight on your hand feels really good. So you can knit this yarn at a tighter gauge. You can go down in your needle size and you don't have to worry about it not fitting because the elastic really stretches.
yeah, I was thinking because it's raining today, so the humidity is up, but it's so dry here all the time that I was thinking I would use some Kobasi to make myself some fingerless gloves that I can put lots of lotion on at night, and then put these fingerless gloves on and go to bed and not get lotion all over my sheets and pillows and things like that. Just allow
Nice.
some time to soak into my skin.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And they wash so nice too, right? You could
Yeah,
just throw them in the machine and wash them up.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I did one other thing since the last podcast that I thought was kind of fun, and that was to make a dog sweater. I'll
What?
I'll insert some pictures here.
You don't have a dog.
I don't have a dog, and full disclosure, I am not a huge fan of dogs either. But my daughter's friend has a new dog, and the puppy has just captured the heart of a lot of people. And so
Is
Frankie,
this for Frankie? I met Frankie too at the hair salon.
yes. So this is the owner. Frankie's owner is another hairstylist that works with my daughter Sarah. And so Frankie was coming to the hair salon and sleeping, and of course, is very cute. And so Sarah said to her friend, maybe her mom, me, would make Frankie a sweater. They were teasing at first, and I thought, well, why not? At the time, I also thought this would be a great class. We'd had some people asking for classes on doing dog and cat sweaters. And so I thought, well, let's try out a pattern and see how it works. So I found this pattern online, and I really liked it because, I'll just hold it up here. I really liked it because it was the only pattern for a dog sweater I could find that didn't actually have you put the front paws into the arms. So most dog sweaters are like people sweaters. You put it over the dog's head, and then their paws have to go through two arms, and the back of the sweater is open. This one has a little panel in the front that you button up. So you can put the turtleneck over the dog's head, lay the back of the sweater on their back, and then just reach underneath and button up the buttons so that they don't have to stick their forearms or forepaws through a sweater opening.
Less stress for the dog.
Exactly. So this one, she calls it the old dog's coat. I can't remember. I think it was a free pattern online, but I will put a link to it online. And if it isn't a free pattern, that's no problem. Buy it. It's really good. It's written by a woman whose first language is German, so she apologizes for her translation. And it is written in some places a bit like a recipe, but I like that because that gives me permission to go ahead and try a few things on my own. So I think it's really well done, and
What
I like.
yarn did you use?
I had some Estelle worsted in my house. I had one ball of burgundy and one ball of gold and a little half ball of red left over from something. So I used that because it's a machine washable yarn. And because I had it on hand, I thought I'll use this up. So this dog sweater took me 2 full skeins plus a tiny little bit of the red. And so I ended up doing some stripes on it. I think it looks pretty cute.
Oh, that's good. Do you have any pictures?
I will. I'll insert them. I'll insert them here. I also put up a project description on Ravelry. So there is a picture of Frankie wearing the sweater. And
oh wow,
yeah,
the dog's in it.
yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's why I don't have a hair.
This dog spent, I'm sure, its first 6 months at the salon without walking. He was literally held by every customer that was in there. He'd go from one to the next. You'd be in your chair getting your hair done, and you'd have a dog in your lap for half an hour.
Only if you wanted it, if you requested it.
Yes.
I have to say I was impressed with how well behaved the dog was, because every time I was there, I don't want a dog in my lap. And so the dog, whenever I was there, the dog was sleeping in its little bed, and I thought Frankie was really quite well behaved for a puppy,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was
hope he stays that way.
yes. And then you made a really pretty garment for Sabrina.
Oh yes, I did. There was a pattern that I saw for a little capelet that had a collar on it, and I don't think did. I have pictures of it.
You sent me a picture, I think by text. So again, we can insert some pictures.
Okay.
You've given it to Sabrina.
Yeah, this one was made out of her favorite yarn. She loves Barocco Arrow, and it's kind of like an unspun, blown kind of filament. that's really, really soft. And so this pattern was called Hug Me Baby. It's by Leslie Ann Molnar Grabowski. And I originally thought that I could make it for um, a little bit larger size. But the pattern I find is written quite small. And so as I kind of did a little bit of research on Ravelry, I noticed I wasn't the only one. But it turned out to be just the perfect size for Sabrina. So it only took 2 balls of arrow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, very little bit of yarn, and it was a quick knit. But I'm going to try it again, I think, out of a chunky and see if I can up my needle size and make it a little bit larger.
Right. So you can hug yourself.
So I can hug myself. Yeah.
I think that's really nice. Maybe today we should call that virtual hug me baby.
There you go.
Oh, good. All right. So we'll insert a picture of your finished thing.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Okay. So let's go on to some new stuff.
Okay.
Okay. We've got oh, let's see. Well, let's talk about what we've restocked in the store. Because even though we're not open for people to do in-person shopping. People have been doing lots of online shopping, and they've been calling the store and getting some help with their purchases as well. So we've actually had to reorder yarn since we've been closed.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, there's certainly Brooklyn Tweed was one that we've reordered, and we're on our second order with them. So hopefully it comes in our shipment before the promotion or the sale is done. But there's no guarantees on that. You know, with the shortages that some of the yarn companies are experiencing and the delays with some of the shipping companies, we've got our fingers crossed that it'll come in soon. But if anyone did not get any Brooklyn Tweed from us, know that we still have some left. And Brooklyn Tweed also has some as well. You can go directly to them and get that same 30% off. Or you can pick your donation amount. You can choose less, and they'll give the balance to your favorite local yarn shop. So that's a really nice thing.
Yeah, so that's good to remind people, if you are ordering directly from Brooklyn Tweed, you can tell them which yarn shop you would like to get the credit. And that the credit that they'll give is a credit towards that yarn shop purchasing more yarn. So it helps us to restock after, after this particular time period is over, by getting a discount on our restocking. So that's a really generous offer from Brooklyn Tweed, and we want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as the other yarns, Cynthia, I didn't bring them with me today, but we've restocked on most of our drops line, which we've been selling a lot of Charisma and Nepal and the Drops Merino Extra Fine. So those yarns have all been restocked, and our Estelle yarns that we sell a lot of for baby and kids projects and blankets and anything where you want to throw the yarn in the machine. That's kind of the yarn that one's for.
Julie also in Lezu DK.
Yes, we got a nice shipment from Julie with brand new colors in Lezu DK. So you need to take a look at that online.
Yes, and then in Barocco, did you get some more Barocco yarns in as well, Barb?
We did. We got restocked on Ultra Wool, which is their superwash wool, which is beautiful. And we got some summer silk, and we got some of their cotton.
The Pima 100?
Yes, the Pima 100. Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that yarn.
It's a beautiful Egyptian cotton, yes.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay.
And I think, I'm probably forgetting the others that we got, but we do send out a listing in every one of our newsletters. So if you're watching the podcast, sign up for the newsletter too, because it's a new format now. It's not long or lengthy at all. It's quite short, but it keeps you in the loop with what's going on and gives you direct links back to new yarns and things that we're bringing out.
That's right.
It's going to be a difficult year this year with new things. I think, we've been restocking on existing yarns that we always carry. There's new colors and things, but there's not too much new because, the yarn companies themselves have not been able to send out sales reps.
Yeah.
I think they're working through different ways of virtually connecting with us, but that hasn't really happened yet. So
Yeah. That's right. But I will show you a sneak peek of a new thing that I'm going to be doing, and using a newer yarn in our shop. Hang on here. So we've been doing a knit along, a mystery knit along, and I thought it might be nice to do a crochet along, not a mystery crochet along, because I'm just not as inventive as you are with crochet. And so
sure.
I thought it would be fun just to use some existing patterns and do something with, I thought it would be fun to do some home decor in a crochet along that uses patterns from Churchmouse Yarns and Tea. Our friends at Churchmouse have not been able to open their doors, and they I think like a month now, and they're not able to go in and fulfill online orders either. So basically, all they can sell are their patterns. And so I thought it would be a good time to use. They've got 3 patterns that are crocheted home decor or accessories. One is crocheted baskets. The other one is, and that includes placemats. You can also use it to make a round rug crocheted. They also have a pattern for crocheted pouches and a backpack. And then they have another pattern that they just released very recently for a crocheted clutch and a handbag. And so these ones, what I thought we would do for the crochet along is pick one of those patterns or all 3 and do a crochet along where I'll show you how to get started on them. And so I've got here a practice one. This is a basket.
Oh, how cute.
Right? Yeah. And so I was just using up some leftover cotton yarns and mixing them together. I had a navy blue and a white. And in here, I had some leftover Euroflax that I held with the white. And at the top, I just used some white cotton. And then in the end, I made a little drawstring for it.
Oh, how sweet. That's really cute. Couldn't you see Rachel carrying her lunch to school in that?
Yes, I could see that, or even just toys. But I also thought it would make a really good yarn bowl. And so I went into the store and I found 2 yarns that I want to make another one with. Can you guess what these are, Barb?
The one on the right looks like BC Garn Lino.
Yes. So this
Is it?
this is a new linen that you brought into to the shop from BC Garn. And this one, got any guesses?
Summer Light DK?
Oh, you're good. You're really good. Yeah. So I'm holding together the BC Garn Lino and Rowan Summer Light DK, and I've started another crochet basket.
Nice.
Doesn't that look good?
Yeah. So what size hook are you using with that?
I'm using a 4.5 millimeter more crochet hook. The size of hook that you use depends on what yarn you're using. So you want it to be fairly stiff.
Right. So you're using both of those yarns held together with a hook that's nice and tight, so you get a nice tight fabric.
Exactly. And I'm just going to reach over here one more time. And the other thing that Churchmouse suggests, whoops, dropping things on the floor, is that you can make cozy. So this is a little glass vase. It fits a little plant. Hang on, I'm using my plant pots for needle holders. So you can put a little plant in there. And I'm going to make a basket that fits this exactly. The
Perfect.
pattern tells you how to do that. So I thought it would be a nice way to support Churchmouse by buying some patterns from them, and also do a fun kind of home decor or fashion crochet along for the month of May, and
Nice.
so I'll show you on our crochet along. I'll show you how to get started and how to make this center really nice and tight. And then I'm not going to show you too much because I don't want to reveal the pattern, but I will show you how to get started. The pouches and the handbags they're not round, they're oblong. So they have kind of a different beginning as well. Yeah.
Nice. That's great. You could also use that for flower vases too, couldn't you?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And they suggest it for everything. And I've got lots of people are making sourdough bread these days, and you can reuse like a glass jar, like a pickle jar or something like that you've got left over. You can use that for your sourdough bread. But wouldn't it be nice if you had a nice little cozy for it, so that everything in your home just looks, I don't know, just looks nice.
Crocheted.
Yeah. But yeah, also like crochet works up really like a lot faster, I think, than knitting does.
Mhm.
But the point about the linen was that it makes everything stand up. So you can see here that when I just use the cotton by itself, it's not as stiff. But the linen in here, it'll stand up all on its own. So if I wanted to make a basket and not have a turnover edge, definitely adding linen is a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
So
Linen has a nice crisp hand to it. And I think those Churchmouse baskets are so nice. They have some that actually fit one inside another too.
yeah.
So
So
they're
and again, the pattern explains how to do that, so that you can make a nesting set. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it makes a really nice housewarming gift. It makes a great summer patio project. You can make placemats, you can make chair covers, you can make rugs, you can crochet with wool and felt it. You can crochet with wool and not felt it. So there's lots of things to do that way. What do you think,
Would you
Barbara? You
say
inspired?
would you say it's a beginner project?
Yeah, I would. So thank you for reminding me. We've put up 2 videos on our YouTube channel that is Crochet Part 1 and Crochet Part 2. So if you don't know how to crochet, try the Crochet Part 1. You'll learn everything you need to know in Crochet Part 1 to do a basket, because it's just one stitch, single crochet. And in Crochet Part 2, we show you how to do the double crochet and how to change colors, how to weave in your ends. And then, of course, with the crochet along, we'll give you some guidance on how to get started, so that you're not left puzzling how to do it. So yeah, if you've never crocheted before, I think you should join the crochet along and give it a shot, because I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it.
Oh, good. When's that starting?
So we'll start that. Let's see, our knit along is finishing. Well, I guess the knit along is finishing this week, right? So our next video will go out on May the 6th. So we could start the crochet along a week later, so May 13th. Yeah,
Great. Okay.
we'll keep it going.
Super.
Okay. So we need to talk about flash mob.
Right.
Yes.
So we have a new colorway for May for flash mob. But before we talk about that, maybe we should talk about flash mobs of the past, because we had some gifts, right, that we haven't announced yet, because we've had to go to a different format for podcasting. We've been giving away books with our flash mobs, starting with Moby Dick, the very first one, and we had a few that we didn't announce because we weren't podcasting.
Yeah. So right, Barb. Our theme for Flash Mob this year is around books. We're calling our Flash Mob theme pages, and so we picked some winners to receive a free copy of the book. And what we did was draw from the names of people who had purchased the Flash Mob to get them a free copy of the book. And so let's start with the Sherlock Holmes. This is The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and that goes with the Study in Scarlet Flash Mob, and the winner is Susan Fuhr. So we'll get in touch with, we've gotten in touch with Susan already, but we just wanted to announce and say congratulations, Susan.
That's right. So we've got this copy of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Right,
And
this is a compilation of Sherlock Holmes adventures. And then the next one was Anne of Green Gables.
That's right.
Anne of Green Gables is an extremely popular book right now, and that goes to the Snow Queen customer who purchased Snow Queen by Richard DeVries, and that's Joanne Hewitt. So Joanne, you're a winner.
Congratulations, Joanne.
And then the last month's Flash Mob was Peter Rabbit, which was dyed for us by Carolyn Sommerfeld from Ancient Arts Yarn. And the tale of Peter Rabbit is going to Katie White. Congratulations, Katie.
Great. So thank you to everyone who purchased the yarn and had some fun with it. And we'll get these books off to you.
Yeah, it's a really good. So this month, did you bring a copy of the book with you?
Darn, I did not.
I'll put a
photograph in. This month, our Flash Mob is based on the book The Wizard of Oz. And so we've had a lot of fun, trying to find patterns that would kind of relate to the Yellow Brick Road and the Wizard of Oz and that. So the yarn is dyed for us this time by Ginger Snap. So for those of you who may know her and her husband, who does a lot of the dyeing, they're a local-based company from Calgary, and they do beautiful sock yarn. So she came up with, we gave her an inspiration photo of Emerald City. So in the book, there's this city, and there was a drawing of it, and it was done in bright greens and yellows, and this is what she's designed for us. So this is her version of Emerald City. So it's bright shocks of hot greens. It's got some beautiful golds and yellows in it, like the Yellow Brick Road. And then it's got some soft, pale greens in it. I brought a couple skeins. So she does a really, really nice job. And this is just a beautiful summertime yarn, it's so great to get those colors right now that are bright and cheerful and summery. So we're thinking these would be great to make socks out of. We found a pattern on Ravelry called Dorothy, and it was the cutest little pattern for a lacy sock. So we made a pair out of Emerald City. This is the sock here. It's got a beautiful lace pattern and some sort of ribbed edges with a cuff, a beautiful little lace cuff. So we're recommending that people make this, or if socks aren't your thing, you can always make hand warmers. And so we had fun with this one. This is our Queen Vicky's wristlet pattern. It too has some lace. And this one, we teamed Emerald City with a ball of Kid Selkays. So these two are held together. This is color 684, and it's just a really bright goldy yellow shade. And held together, it does something like this. It just takes and sort of calms down the Emerald City and gives it a halo. So
Barb,
those
those
are,
are beautiful. The
thank you.
socks are gorgeous, and the hand warmers look so pretty.
So I couldn't just stop there. I had to have a little bit more fun playing with it, Cynthia. So Pat knit us another set. I think I'm wearing these upside down with using Emerald City and this colorway of Kid Silk's. So this is shade 651. It's kind of like a deep pine green. And so when you team it with this is what you get. So it's really kind of fun when you're blending yarns. The mohair, you would think it's so fine, you would think it didn't show up too much, but you know, when you hold these together, that's quite a difference. So hand warmers or socks or combinations thereof. Here's another one of Dorothy, the pattern Dorothy. But this time we added the Kid Silk Haze into the cuff. We came up with this.
That is so cool. I'm really astounded actually at um, how that the Kid Silk Haze tints the yarn.
I know. You wouldn't think so, but it really does. And just provides a like a halo, a real softness to the wool too. It just feels amazing. So I think Aya took some pictures of this too that we'll have to pop in and show you.
That's really
It's
cool.
on sale May 20th
Right.
at 6 p.m. Our flash mob is always the same day at the same time, and they're all limited edition. So Kim and Colin made us only a certain amount of these. Once they're gone, they're gone.
Right.
And we have a lot of fun with it that way.
And the people, seriously, people, you need to be at your computer at 6 o'clock on May the 20th, 6 o'clock Mountain Daylight Time, because last month, what was it? I think maybe within 3 hours, we were
Yeah.
sold out.
Yeah.
And there were some very disappointed people. So,
Well, I think sometimes it all depends on the book too, right? I think Peter Rabbit is a pretty compelling little book. And so is the Wizard of Oz. There's a lot of people who grew up with that movie and that story. And so the timing too around this being that spring is just kind of coming here, I think this one will go pretty quick too.
yeah. Yeah, so if you don't subscribe to the newsletter, you should do that because we send out a reminder on the day of for a flash mob. And if you're looking for a place to subscribe to the newsletter, just go to our webpage at www.rivercityyarns.com. And at the bottom of every page is a sign up form for the Yarn Bird, which is our now weekly newsletter. And again, like Barb said, it's very short and sweet, to the point. So you should definitely sign up for it if you don't already.
Yeah, so that's flash mob.
Okay.
What else do you have on your list, Cynthia?
Um,
And what are you wearing?
oh, I'm wearing my 4-day knit along sweater.
Oh, Marie Green.
Marie Green from last year's the Foxtrot cardigan, which I have fastened with a couple of jewel leather screw-on tabs here.
Very nice.
Yeah, and this is made out of River City Yarns Eden, and it is perfect for a day like today when it's a little chilly out, because it feels so nice on, nice and warm. Yeah,
Nice.
and I've done mine in the colorway Forest.
That's very pretty.
Yeah. How about
I'm
you?
wearing my Rosalind cowl. This is a colorwork cowl made with our new alpaca called El Rio. And it too, you know, perfect to wear today because it's really nice and cozy. And then underneath I'm wearing Lucia, which is a really pretty mohair and silk blend from Shibui.
Huh,
Yeah.
very nice.
Before we close off, Cynthia, I just wanted to put a plug in for a local Alberta entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you remember or not, but I was talking about this magazine per case. I subscribed and I got a couple of issues, and this is one of them per case. So this magazine is all about different makers and artists. So it's everything, not just knitting, but crochet and pottery and painting, and anybody who's got an art form is invited to write articles for this magazine. And Janine, just want to get her last name, Van Gool. Janine Van Gool is a Alberta-based entrepreneur. She's a publisher, and she's published this magazine and sells it. There's no advertising in here. She sells it all out through subscription. And it's brilliant. It contains all sorts of different articles about artists, stories, and little one or two column blurbs about all sorts of different things. So if you're an artist and you're looking for inspiration, not necessarily inspiration for your own art form, but something from a different art form that you could apply to yours, this is the magazine, uppercase. Check it out. Consider it, because it's just wonderful.
Where's she from, Barb?
She's from Calgary.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And we have a friend, Diane Crease, who's a felt artist. She works, do you remember Diane?
And rug hooking.
And rug hooking. And they did a story on her in here. So if you know of any artists that do amazing things, put them in touch with Janine, and she'll put a story about them in her magazine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. This last issue that just came out has got a whole section on crochet, and it's all about crochet in granny squares.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm just going to see if I can find it. Of course, when you want to find something. But anyways, yeah, great magazine, uppercase. Check it out.
How did you discover it, Barb?
I found out about her from a trade show.
Oh.
The woman who sells, I think it's Maker's Mercantile. She had a line of flour sack projects, and they were done different sort of bags and things like that were made out of old flour sacks.
Mm-hmm.
And Janine did a story on her.
Oh, nice.
And so, and this happened to be in Phoenix, the trade show. And when I met her and I told her that I was from Edmonton, she made the connection with Janine being in Calgary. And that's how I found out about her.
Oh, nice. That was back in the days when we could travel.
Yes.
Yeah.
And go to trade shows. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now we'll travel virtually, and we'll maybe meet with our sales reps over Zoom. Talked to Peter from Barocco/Rowan a couple of days ago, and he said he was preparing some packages to send ahead in the mail, and then he would schedule a Zoom meeting. So
nice. Yes, I think it's going to be a lot of virtuality lately, whether it be meetings with yarn reps or learning like classes and workshops. Yep. And even virtual shopping. We've been talking about doing, some shopping. You'll have to let us know if you would be interested in phoning us up and doing an online shopping event.
I think people would be quite excited to do that. I think that's, it's kind of a customization. And if we use a platform like Zoom, you could be shopping with a friend at River City Yarns. Or
that would be fun.
You could shop with your knitter if you're not a knitter, or you could shop with your crocheter if you're not a crocheter, or you could shop with your mom for Mother's Day and have
Well,
pick
I was
out
just gonna say shout out to all the moms out there for Mother's Day.
Mhm. Yes. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to you, Barb.
Yeah, same to you.
All right. Well, I think maybe we should head out and do some other things and say thank you to everyone who's joined us today. We'll see you again in another month and give you some highlights on everything that we talked about today and more.
Fantastic.
Okay. All right. Stay
Bye.
healthy. Bye.